Welcome to Wellness Made Easy with Wendy and Kirsten. Hi, I'm Wendy. After I graduated with my master's in wellness management, I started my own company, T2 Coaching, Health, Fitness, and Sport. And I'm Kirsten, an athlete, vegan, life coach, and girl mom, running a business focused on helping others create a life they love. We are here to explore all things wellness to help you become the person you've always wanted to be. So if that's why you're here, open your ears and your mind as we tackle the world of wellness together.
Hey everyone. Hey Wendy.
How are you?
Did you get your hair cut?
No, I brushed it. Look at how long it is. Okay, people who are my hair is so long, but you would never know because I don't brush it and then it forms dreadlocks. And then I did this a month ago and I had to do it again 2 days ago. I had to douse my hair in conditioner and I use the conditioner here at Lifetime Fitness. And then I go to my mom's house and use her brush.
That's awesome. My hair is so long and I just started using, you guys can't tell because I don't know, it looks fuzzy to everyone else, but for me, it's like so smooth and sleek and soft because the swim school I work at we got this new swim shampoo that we're selling and it's amazing. And I'm never like this shampoo because I normally don't care about my hair. So I actually sent them an email and I was like, hey, I'm a swim coach and I coach athletes. And I was like, do you have an ambassador program or a sponsorship program or something? Because I'm like, this stuff is awesome.
Well, so my mom, so I conditioned my hair, went to my mom's, used her brush. She ended up giving me the brush because she got a new one. Why can't I get a brush? I just never think about it. But I love her brush. It's the only thing that can get through my hair. So I get a big wad of hair and I'm like, now my hair is so thin and fine and I call it flat because it's brushed and conditioned. So my mom's like, you got to use this detangle stuff. And I'm like, Mom, I haven't used that since I've been like a teenager or like in junior high. Like, what do you mean they have detangler? And then 2 days later, Try Swim, they have shampoo, conditioner, it's a cleansing lotion, all that to get rid of the chlorine. They came out with a detangler. And I'm like, what? Like,
yeah, this company that
my mom was onto something with this detangler, and now this company has a detangler, and they heard me talking about it, so they sent me an email.
Yeah, so this company, they have a detangler, and that's what I've been using. Well, I've been using the shampoo and conditioner just when I'm at the swim school, but like the past 4 days, the reason I thought about it is because Happy December, is at the end of December, my skin is just so dry and itchy and my hair is all trashed because I try to swim every day.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I'm going to nip it in the bud this year and start early. And I've swam 3 days in a row, but I've used that detangler, the conditioner every day. And my hair is like amazing.
Nice.
Well, for me, amazing.
Yes.
Not the average. Like when Wendy and I talk about how amazing our hair is, it's not compared to the average person.
No, absolutely not.
Compared to us. So what's your wellness win, Wendy?
Well, Happy December. Oh, hi, Rika. I haven't seen her in forever. So I'm at Lifetime. I just saw my friend I haven't seen in months and months and months. So Happy December. I've swam every day. So my goal is to swim at least 1K 5 days a week through the month of December. And then the 100 hundreds on Christmas Eve, possibly New Year's Eve, we'll see. Possibly 100 hundreds. One of my athletes I used to coach invited me to his swim. He swims with a master's group and they do theirs before we do ours. So I might go and do 100 hundreds with him just because he invited me. And that was nice to be invited and to actually do it with people. I've never done it with anyone. I don't think I've ever done maybe one time 100 hundreds with you. We've done our New Year's Eve swim together.
Right.
But I'm not sure if we ever actually did the 100 hundreds together. So
we have
maybe doing it 2 or 3 times this year. But I'm just proud of myself for getting it done. Because again, when I make a commitment to myself, pretty much follow through pending illness, injury.
Right. Well, me too. So this is my 3rd day because I don't have time on Mondays to swim. So I swam Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Tuesday, I went all in because it was my first swim of December. And my goal is more of a overall yardage for December. And I did 4,700. And I was so tired because I've been doing like 1,500 to 2,000, like 3 days a week for the past couple months. So to like whip out a 4,700, my arms were so tired, but in the best way. It felt really good. Yay. So we're so happy December. So if anyone's joining us for December, we'd love to know how you're doing, what your goals are. It doesn't have to be something crazy like 1K every single day for Wendy or 100,000 by the end of the month, like I'm doing. If getting in the pool 3 days a week is a stretch for you, that's a great December goal. Or even doing 1,000 3 days a week if you haven't been swimming is a great December goal. So tell us your December goals.
And something I'm doing, because I've done two actually videos and I've uploaded them to YouTube before I had a channel. They're at the Endurance Hour YouTube channel. In 2016 or 2017, I did a 21-day challenge. And I think in 2022 or 2023, it's in 2022 because I wasn't doing anything in 2023. I posted 31 days of swim workouts of the day. And so right now, every day this month, I'm reposting those on my Facebook, Instagram story for people who don't have any idea. Like sometimes you're like, I want to do this, but I just don't know what to do. I'm posting the workouts of the day. I'm posting a link to the YouTube channel to get the full details of them. And if you missed some of the days, because you're just finding out about it, you can always go to the Endurance Hour YouTube channel and just type in day 1 swim challenge, day 2 swim challenge, etc., all the way to day 30 swim challenge. And you can still find them. They're always accessible.
Okay. That's great. So if you guys are looking for a little more guidance than us just being like the swimmer, everybody swim, then go find that and check that out from Wendy. Because Wendy and I are good at in our head, we each have like 2,000 workouts. So when we go and do a workout, we have a plan, we do, but I think most people aren't that way. And so it's good to have. I actually have a Facebook group. I'm not active on it, but if anyone else wants to jump on it, it's called I Heart Swimming. And it's a Facebook group and I've posted like tons and tons and tons of workouts. So if you're also looking just like, I just want to see a workout or write down a workout or copy a workout, I have a bunch on there too.
Yeah, cool.
I just haven't been over there in a while. I'm not active in it, but it's still there.
I am posting in my T2 Endurance Facebook group. Again, I wasn't active for a few years. And then when we started our podcast 11 months ago or so, 12 months ago, I got active again in that group, and I haven't really been active for probably 6 months. So I just started posting my swim videos that I post on my stories. I also posted them in that group as well.
Awesome. Yeah. And I'll start posting I talked about my first workout, but I'll post some as well, just for quick reference. But speaking of 12 months ago, this is podcast number 51. And there are 52 weeks in a year. So we are almost at our year, which I'm really excited about. And next week, we are going to talk a little bit about that journey and what it's meant to us and give you guys some tips in case this is something that you're wanting to do. I think it's kind of proof that Wendy and I, especially if you heard us talking in the beginning, like if we can do it, anyone can do it. So we are going to talk about, we're heading into the holidays, the big holiday season. That means something different to every single person. And I wanted to talk about setting boundaries, and not only boundaries like with other people, but even with ourselves. So I talked to a lot of people. One of my athletes I coached today, she was like, I have been so horrible. Things have been so bad. I've been skipping all these workouts. I feel so bad about myself. And I'm like, why are you skipping? And she said, well, I was sick for a week and then I was busy for the holidays and then I got this stomach bug. And I'm like, so you weren't skipping workouts. You had other things going on and you weren't feeling well. There's a big difference between not being able to do a workout because of time or energy or injury, or you're not feeling well, than to just be sitting around like, I'm going to skip a workout. So to me, skipping a workout means they chose to skip it. They didn't have a good reason. They were just skipping a workout.
They consciously chose to skip it.
Yeah. So that's what that meant to me. And she was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for telling me that. That makes me feel a lot better, like reframing it that way. Mm-hmm. So it could be, so for some people this season coming up, this holiday season is really stressful and there's a lot going on. And some people are really anxious or overwhelmed. Some people, this upcoming season is really sad or really depressing. And then some people, it's business as usual. There's no real stress or anxiety around it. And I think Wendy and I have really different experiences. And so I thought it would be great for both of us to kind of talk about boundaries. So physical boundaries, boundaries with ourselves, and some things that I was thinking are like boundaries around drinking, around food, around training, around time, around commitments, around spending money. And so physical boundaries, but also just some emotional boundaries. If you're around people that don't make you feel great about yourself and you want to limit that time, just so there's so many different categories of boundaries and different ways that we can handle boundaries. And if you're listening to this and you're like, I hear people talk about boundaries, but I don't even know what that means. And I would love to hear what your definition, Wendy, is. But I think of boundaries as a commitment I make to myself that gives myself the most peace of mind, sense of calm, and keeps me true to, it is an alignment with who I want to be and helps me stay true to my intentions. So it doesn't have to do with anybody else. It might affect other people, but I can't control other people. So all the boundaries I set are boundaries that are going to help me and are all about the commitment I make to myself. So what do you think of when you think of boundaries, Wendy?
Yeah, I think I don't let other people influence changing my decision of the commitments I made to myself or the intentions or whatever I do. So like if I'm planning to do a workout at 2 p.m. and someone comes to me, like I just saw a few people in my space just now here at Lifetime, one before the podcast, two during, if they wanted my attention, it's like, no, I'm in the middle of a podcast. But even if I wasn't in the middle of a podcast, the only reason I would be here would be to work. So I would keep that boundary and say, hi, well, let's catch up later. I'm not going to let you influence my ability to get my work done or get distracted. And same with like going to a party. If you're in a party where there's a lot of alcohol or a lot of food, I've developed good boundaries and good relationships with food and alcohol that I'm not going to let someone influence, oh, everyone's doing it here, have another drink, or just, taste my thing that I made. I made it for the party. Can you at least taste it? And it's like, if it's not something I want to have, I'm not going to have it. And I have no problem telling that person, no, thank you. Thanks for offering, but I'm going to pass today. And so it's definitely something that I think you becomes a habit that you learn by doing. It's not something that I was always accustomed to doing. I am a very accommodating person. And so being an accommodating person does have let other influencers, step into my space. And I've learned to say I'm very accommodating, but I do have boundaries up until a point.
So what's an example of maybe something that in the past that you've struggled with, a boundary for yourself that you no longer struggle with as much? And how did you get from where you were to where you are?
Well, I think a big one is probably, just over the last few years is, we're entrepreneurs, we're coaches, we have set prices in our business depending on what we're offering. And I used to let people, say, well, can you come down in price? I can't afford it. I really want you to help me or coach me or do whatever. Can you budge on the price? And I usually would. And I don't do that anymore because it's like, you know what? I coach everyone the same. It's up to you to take advantage of how much you communicate with me, how much information you share with me. I'm not going to have levels of coaching because I coach everyone the same. And so I'm really good with that financial boundary of saying, these are my prices. If you can't afford it, you're not my ideal client. I understand, you can go somewhere else. So I'm not like grabbing at every athlete that comes along my way who wants me to coach them. I'm not willing to budge on certain aspects of what I charge and how much I communicate and how much I give them, because I give them a lot of my time, but that's what I love to do.
Right.
And then
so,
I think
how
also
did you get there?
How did I get there?
Yeah. How did you get
confidence in the ability to get confident in what I charge and what I offer is really the main thing. And I think a lot of it, I had a business coach for 12 months. And so that helped, having that coach along to help me build that confidence that you're worth what you're charging, or charge your worth. And I've heard it for years and years and years. I've been a coach for
Right.
25 years. I've heard that 25 years ago, but it just took me some confidence to get to that point.
And do you think that came with just time in owning your business, your
Yeah.
continuing
Yeah. I mean, I think
education?
confidence in the business, confidence in what I offered, confidence in why I'm different as a coach compared to other coaches, confidence in charging a certain amount of money for certain things that I offer based on other people's value and what other coaches are offering, has helped a lot.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you can think of in any other area of your life that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely alcohol. When I was in college, I used to drink a little bit before while I was in high school at like lifeguard parties, more the peer pressure, but I was never much of a drinker until I went to college. And the influence and the peer pressure of college swimming to go out and just get hammered to the point where I mean, maybe I blacked out. I don't know if it was a blackout, but we would get home from the bar and I would just pass out cold and have
Right.
all these wild and crazy dreams. And then you wake up the next morning, and if it's a Monday through Friday, you're going to morning practice. If it's the weekend, you're sleeping in. But then you're just hungover. And then what happens? You do it again. And so I used to drink. It was just my freshman year. I stopped because I'm like, this isn't who I am. This isn't who I want to be. And at least for me, luckily it stopped after my freshman year because I realized that's just not what I wanted to be doing. And why would I do something like that? Why would I let someone pressure me into doing something like that I don't want to do?
So do you think more like personal growth, just learning who you are, being more confident in who you are as a person?
I mean, growth. I don't know back then. I mean, it's not like I practiced personal growth and did videos and books or stuff like that. I think again, it was just being confident in who I am and becoming more strong and independent. And again, it all has to do with confidence and the ability to say, if I don't want to go, I'm going to tell my friends that I'm not going to go, and they're still going to be my friends. If they're not going to be my friends because I'm not going partying every night, they're not my friends to begin with. And so it's just trusting that it's okay to say no to doing something or not drinking or not eating something that you don't want to. And that doesn't mean anything. It shouldn't affect any relationship you have.
Right. So from everything you've just said and with my own experiences, it seems like when you best know yourself and what you want and what you're willing to give up or not give up and what's important to you and your priorities, that can help you determine what your boundaries are. And then as you gain more confidence and belief in your life's philosophies and what you want and don't want in your life, then it's easier to hold true to those boundaries because they're really important to you. So I would say for those of you listening who are like, oh my gosh, I am horrible at boundaries in this area of my life or this area of my life, I think getting clear on what you want is the first step. Mm-hmm. Because you can't set a boundary if you're wishy-washy about something. Because if you're not 100%, like if you're like, well, I like drinking, but I don't really like drinking and I'm not really sure. And someone's like, here, have a drink. You're like, okay. Whereas if you're really clear.
And I think, again, going back to the drinking in college, I didn't know what I wanted. I mean, it was all.
Exactly.
Every experience was an opportunity to figure out what I wanted.
Exactly.
Having those negative experiences of getting drunk and being hungover the next day was experiences that I had that I'm like, I don't want to have this anymore. Right. So it just having different experiences and again, knowing deep down, you take the drink anyways. Did you really want it? And just really asking yourself those questions. And again, it's okay to say no.
Right. And I think the stronger you are in the belief that whichever boundary or whatever you're talking about, the bigger belief you have in yourself that this is true to who you are, then it becomes really easy to say no.
Yeah, for sure.
So like, I didn't drink at all in college. I've gotten drunk once in my entire life. Mm-hmm. That was when I was 16 years old. And it was kind of like, I wanted, again, like kind of like that, like to try it out. You know, people drank in high school all the time and I was never really that into it. I think I was nervous about being out of control because I just saw like all the girls drinking and then being like annoying and crazy. And I was like, I don't want to be that person. So I was kind of nervous to even drink. And so I never did. And then the one time I did, I got like so blasted, hammered. I think I was drunk for like 2 days. It was pretty bad, but it was enough that I was like, yeah, this isn't really me at all. I mean, I was 16 years old and I was confident that I never wanted to drink for the rest of my life. And so even finishing high school, all through college, of course, people are like, oh, just have one drink. And I'm like, no, I don't want it. I don't want to. And I did have people that didn't want to hang out with me because they're like, what? That's weird. You don't drink. It was the weirdest in college because I didn't know anyone who didn't drink when I was in college. And then when I got out of college, I started meeting the occasional person who doesn't drink. And it's really interesting now. I don't know if it's because social media like lets us see into so many people's lives more than it did 20 years ago. But I feel like, I mean, I personally have 5 or 6 friends, like close friends that don't drink at all. And if you look at like just people in the world, like celebrities and athletes and movie stars, there's so many people who don't drink at all. And I feel like it's different than it was 20 years ago. I didn't know anyone that didn't drink.
It's interesting when I know your ex-husband, Rick, and it's interesting because he drank a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's funny because he was a musician. And so he would play out in bars and clubs and places like that. And I would go to support him and everybody would be drunk. And if you've ever been the only sober person around a lot of drunk people, it's very, very annoying. And when I was younger, I didn't mind it as much. I was just like, oh, I'm not going to drink, but whatever, anyone else can drink. But now I'm to the point where I can't picture myself hanging out with people who drink a lot. My whole family, they have a drink. Like over the holidays, my mom, my sister's husband, my mom's husband, everyone drinks. Even the kids, that my nieces and nephews now are all 20 and 21, 24. You know, they're all drinking. None of them are getting plastered, hammered, drunk. So it doesn't bother me like being around people that drink, but I can't imagine myself like going to a party or an event where people are just drunk. And and like along the drinking things, I feel like when you're more confident about a boundary. So I've gone on a handful of dates in the past 5 years, like maybe less than a handful. And if somebody is drinking, it turns me off right away, even if they're just having one drink. So I've learned that if ever I do want to seriously date somebody or have a relationship or a partner, it would be someone who didn't drink. And that I've learned is a pretty like clear-cut boundary. So it would be nice if all the things in my life felt that clear cut for my boundaries, because I do still struggle with many of the things that were coming up in the holiday season. The one that I struggled with the most over the years is spending money.
I knew you were going to bring that up. I've never struggled with that ever.
I know. And that's why I think it's interesting. Like you and I have so many similar philosophies on life, but we've had so many different experiences, like still coming to the same philosophies and the same outcomes. So I think it's interesting for our listeners to know, like, how are you so confident about this? How are you so all over the place about this? So for me, it was like 15 years ago, I kind of had a little meltdown about holiday spending because I was in a place where I didn't have any extra money. I had so much credit card debt and the holidays were coming, and my family and my extended family have always been very big on giving gifts, and they love it. And they love to give gifts. And I always felt guilty, like pressure, like I have to get everyone a gift because they're going to give me a gift. And so I sent this email out to my whole family. I think this was like 15 or 20 years ago. And I said, hey, I just wanted to ask that nobody gives me any gifts this year because I'm not in a position to get anyone gifts. And it's been really challenging for me to like be the person who gives no gifts while everyone's giving me gifts. And I sent that out, and somebody had responded that it wasn't up to me. Like, I can't be the one to decide if somebody gives me a gift or not.
Yeah, we said the same thing.
Yeah. And so, but it like, I didn't think of that as like, oh, what a giving, wonderful person. It like gutted me. Like it made me feel more guilty, and it made me feel like I was being like targeted. That's such a like weird word, but like I felt like she was mad at me and telling me like I didn't have the right, because I think that's what it said, like you don't have the right to decide who gives you a gift or not. And I was like, and so then I bought people gifts anyway, because then I felt guilty about it. And then there was one year, so that like always stuck. So then that's when I started like being obsessed with the Grinch, because I was like, I was so depressed that whole holiday season. I was so stressed out, so anxious. So I watched the Grinch a lot. I had this Grinch hanging from my mirror in my car, this little Grinch stuffy. And like, I would always look up at the Grinch and be like, hail to the Grinch. Like, I'm with you. I don't want Christmas and the holidays to be about presents.
And I'm going to jump in there. So to me, why do you need a holiday to give someone a gift? You should be giving gifts year round. If you want to give someone a gift, give someone a gift. Don't wait till the holidays. So it's always been my stance on the holidays. If I don't give someone a gift, then doesn't mean I'll never give them a gift. I'll give them a gift later, but I never feel obligated. I never feel stressed. I never feel pressured to give gifts during the holidays. I really enjoy the ability to do that, but there has been some years where I've been financially in a position where I'm not going to spend money I don't have. Okay. So I have I think I have a good relationship with money. This past Cyber Monday, Black Friday deal, I actually waited for Black Friday because I wanted to order some swimming supplies from Swim Outlet. And so I decided I'm just going to wait till Black Friday because I know they're going to be discounted even more, because it's actually stuff I need. It's like I give myself gifts during the holidays. Right. I filled my cart up with over $300 worth of stuff. And then I decided before a checkout, I gave it a day because I knew I didn't have to do it immediately. I gave it a day and I'm like, why? I don't need this. I really don't need it. I have swim paddles. I don't need these special swim paddles, even though they're half
new
off.
Improved, right?
Do I need a parka? I lost my parka. I'm really sad about it. Do I need a parka? No. Took it out of, that's $100. Took it out of my thing. So I ended up cutting back and I ended up spending like $100. I'm like, $150 went down to $100 because I'm like, if I spend that much money, then my credit card that I use to purchase stuff for myself, then it's at zero. And I'm like, I want to get a massage. Like I want to get my mom a massage for Christmas. I want to get other people gifts for Christmas. I need to save my money that I have allocated in my I call it my lifetime account, what I make for swim coaching. It's my account. No one sees it. I get to spend money. I get to buy Don gifts. He doesn't even know it because I use my account that he doesn't get to. So it's really like, again, what's more valuable to you? Getting my mom a massage, getting Don a gift, getting my stepkids gifts, or spending all the money on me. And what's more valuable to me is being able to give rather than do it all for myself. Because there's going to be other Black Friday deals on Swim Outlet. There's going to be other times and places where I can purchase those items that I didn't purchase. Because again, I think I have a really good relationship with money. I would rather give than receive, but absolutely, I would never tell someone, don't get me a gift, because it's their issue. If they're going to get me a gift, it's their problem. It's not my problem.
Right. And then did you always were you always that relationship with money and giving and receiving?
I think so. I mean, I can't remember a time where I've ever felt like pressure other than doing Secret Santas. Sometimes Secret Santas bother me. I wouldn't say stress me out, but sometimes having a Secret Santa like that you don't know,
right?
And then you're limited to like $20. I'm like, what can you buy for $20? So I had a Secret Santa last year. I was part of this running group, virtual, and we did a Zoom call after everyone sent their gifts to someone. Then we did a Zoom call to reveal who we gave a gift to, and I ended up spending. It was a $20 limit. I spent $40. Because I'm like, I just felt better buying a more valuable gift for this person,
right,
than buying a cheap gift that I'm like, I don't even know if they're ever going to use it. So I was okay with doubling my spending amount. I actually felt good about it, but it would have bothered me if I had to look for a cheaper gift that wasn't going to be useful.
Right.
Other than that, I'm okay with gifts. I don't do Secret Santas anymore.
Right. Well, so a couple things that I think are really valuable in what we just talked about in creating boundaries. Again, first, knowing what you want in this, whichever area of life you struggle with the boundary. once you know exactly what you want and it's a real core part of who you are, then it's really easy. It's kind of like Wendy and I being vegan. There's no amount of, oh, try this milkshake, there's no amount of any peer pressure or making me feel guilty that anyone could ever do to make me want to eat a piece of meat.
Right.
Or eat a piece of cheese.
Right.
Because in the depths of my core, I believe that's not for me. So I think the more that you have a grip and a specific awareness of what's important to you, I think the boundary setting gets easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so one of the things that Wendy mentioned, well, two things that I thought were really valuable. Number one, if you have an issue with something like spending money or overcommitting your time or RSVPing to everything, give it a day, give it 24 hours. So if you fill up your Amazon cart and you're like, oh, these are all the presents I want to buy for people, or these are the things I want for myself, let it sit there for 24 hours. If you get 4 invites for parties, work parties, Christmas parties, don't respond right away. You don't need to respond back in 1 second. Like there's people that that only check their email once a day. So if you don't respond for 24 hours, that's not unheard of. So take the time and let things breathe. And that will help you make the decisions, because a lot of times we make decisions based on emotional, like how we feel, like shopping. I think people make a lot of emotional purchases. I do that all the time with my daughter. She's like, oh my gosh, I want that so bad. And it's something, she's like, that's my favorite this. I want this. And I'm like, ooh, yeah, let's buy it. And then like a week later, she's into something different. And I'm like, all right, well, I didn't need to buy that, because by the time I get it, she's not even into that anymore. So let things sit, let things breathe. Don't answer the RSVPs right away. Don't answer your list of commitments. Don't make all the commitments right away. Wait 24 hours and then decide what's the most important to you.
Yeah, Don was selling some stuff on Facebook Marketplace, and someone messaged him. It was after 9 o'clock. It was almost probably close to 10 o'clock at night, making an offer or asking him if he could ship it for extra money. And so Don went out of his way to look to see how much it would cost for shipping. And I'm like, Don, it's 10 o'clock at night. You don't need to respond. You might get another offer. Someone who doesn't want you to ship it to them. Because if you commit to shipping it to someone, it's probably going to fall on me. I'm going to have to go to UPS. I'm going to have to package it up. I'm going to have to spend more money because it's higher. Prices are higher during the holidays to ship stuff. And then all of a sudden, if you think you're making $50 on this item, you end up making 30. And I'm just like, you know what? It's 10 o'clock at night. You don't need to respond. Going back to, you don't need to respond right away, because not everyone's checking their email like as much as I'm checking my email. People on Facebook Marketplace, it could be a scam anyways. It's the emotion of, oh yay, someone wants this. I'm going to get rid of it.
Sell it. I want this money.
And it's like, no, you just gotta like, again, give things 24 hours. Something I've been working on myself is just not reacting, thinking before I react to everything. It's kept me, anxiety levels pretty low.
Yeah. Cause you talked about that when we talked about relationships.
Yeah.
You talked about that. Like, you used to be a lot more reactive in your relationships. And then if you sit on it and take time to respond, when the emotion dies down, you're like, that's not even worth a response.
Right. Exactly.
And you would have maybe done something you regret, like when purchasing things or committing to things. Like, I actually just RSVP'd a few weeks ago to something that it's going to be about a 4-hour thing that I don't want to spend 4 hours on. And then once you commit, once you RSVP, then to get out of it, you're kind of like backpedaling, making up things, instead of, so I think it's easier just to wait, take a breath, wait 24 hours, make the decision for your purchases, for your RSVPs, for parties and other commitments. And it's easier to do that than to return it, like take away your RSVP, explain it.
And I'm gonna throw this out there. I want to be invited. I don't want to go.
Right. Yeah.
You know what, people, if you're going to invite me to anything, I want to be invited. But in the end, when it comes down to it, the day, the time, I don't want to go. I'm going to use this as an example. I coach an athlete. He's older and he's in a band. And I went to one of his band rehearsal concerts here in Woodstock, Georgia. And it was really good. I was really glad I was invited. It was just when he first hired me. And I've coached him for 4 or 5 years now. He's invited me twice. And he usually gives me 2 weeks notice. Sunday nights, oh, you want to come? I got free tickets, yada, yada, yada. I always forget. Like I always think, oh yeah. I tell Don, I'm like, Don, we're going date night. We're going to Jay's concert again.
Right.
Yada, yada. He says tickets. We can eat dinner there. But when it comes down to it on a Sunday night at 7:00, number one, I always forget. And I always feel bad. And at the same time, I'm like, Jay, I forget 7:00. This is just not something that I'm into. And he knows that. It's nice to be invited. He totally understands when I don't show up. So I'm throwing it out there. Invite me all you want.
Right.
Probably not going to go.
Right.
I'm very much, you can't tell it now, but I'm very much an introvert by nature. If you looked up the word introvert in the dictionary, you'd see my photo. I'm so introverted. I'm not going to go.
And so I think, again, exactly what we've been talking about. Once you know who you are, exactly what you want, how you want to spend your time, boundaries are a lot easier because, like Wendy just said, I'm not going to go. Like she's so confident and so sure, I'm not going to go. So then people aren't going to pressure her into it because they know that she's not going to be pressured into it. Whereas I think people know if you're wishy-washy, if you're like, well, maybe, then you're going to be easily pressured into something. So I think maybe even write down, for those of you who journal or make lists, write down some of the things that you're maybe anxious about in this next 3 weeks of this considered the holiday season. Write all the things you're anxious about, and then maybe write a couple sentences what your ideal situation would look like. So
yeah, think back on previous holidays of stuff that made you anxious, because it's probably going to happen again. Holidays
right.
are pretty traditional. Same things happen: shopping, parties, alcohol, food, treats. I used to live at a health club that members would just pile on junk food, and we used to eat it all at a health club. But
right.
you know what to expect. Plan ahead and say, okay, this is probably going to happen this year. Plan your reaction now, and don't
right.
wait for it to happen, because then it's going to be an emotional reaction where you already know it's going to happen. So plan how you're going to handle the situation.
Yeah, and that was going to be my biggest tip. Once you know what you want, is to plan each situation. And even if you decide, so let's say this thing I RSVP'd for, it's 4 hours out of my day. And right now I'm like, oh, I'm kicking myself. Why did I do that? Well, I can plan ahead and be like, okay, I'm going to stay for 45 minutes. And I can either tell the host right up front, hey, I'm so, thank you so much for inviting me. Be kind and be appreciative. Like Wendy said, thank you guys for inviting me, and say, I'm glad I got to see you. I'm so glad I'm here. I'm going to stay about 45 minutes, just so you know, if you see me disappear. And if it feels better for you to give a reason, that's fine. But we've talked about this before. You don't have to give a reason, anything more than because I don't want to stay here that long.
I'm laughing because I'm part of this everyday athlete club, and I'm learning, I'm really in tune with them, and I'm watching all their stories and podcasts and yada, yada, yada. I've been on a couple of podcasts. They had a Facebook Live on Thanksgiving Eve. They don't know this. And I accidentally hit watch. I didn't mean to. I've never really wanted to spend a lot of time watching Facebook Lives, but I'm like, oh, I've got time. It's, the day before Thanksgiving. I got nothing else going on right now. I'm going to watch it. And so I had to tune out for a second. Then I rejoined. And then at 30 minutes, it was still going on. And then I didn't know what it was about. It was actually, they were bringing on people. And the host asked me, he goes, do you want to join us? And I'm like, no. I'm just learning what you guys are talking about. And then at 30 minutes, I'm like, all right, that was enough. I had to cook something or whatever. And so I felt really bad initially for tuning out. And then I texted him. I'm like, thanks for doing this live thing. It sounds like this was the second annual. I'll definitely join next year. It sounded like a lot of fun. Maybe I'll join in next time. Great job. I just felt that need to want to give it a reason. But I didn't have to. He wouldn't have cared.
Right.
He didn't even notice if I was there or gone.
Right.
But I felt better for myself to just say, oh, sorry, I had to leave early.
Right. And that's another great point to bring up when we're setting all these boundaries. Boundaries are scary for a lot of people. Boundaries, especially if you're a people pleaser or if you are an avoider, boundaries are really scary and they're very anxiety ridden and they make people feel really nervous. But most likely, the other people that are involved in you setting these boundaries are going to be okay with your boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
We make it a bigger deal than it is. They're worried about their own boundaries. They're worried about all their own stuff they have going on. They don't even pay attention like we think they do. You know, they might be like, oh, just have one drink. And you're like, in your head, you're going crazy. You're like, oh my gosh, I told myself I wasn't going to drink. And now they're making me drink. And if you said no, they would move on. They're just offering you because maybe they're like, oh, I feel like I should offer this person a drink. I don't know. We make such a big deal in our own heads about our own lives. But since we're each doing that, most people don't care as much as we think they do about us rejecting them or saying no or doing something else or leaving early or making other plans. We think it's a big deal because it's hard for us.
Mm-hmm.
But they are like, okay, see you next time.
Right.
So
Right.
I think it's really good to remember that, because if you are having a hard time holding your boundaries, just remember that it's probably not affecting another person as much as it's affecting you. So as long as you're okay with it, just keep that boundary.
Good. Yes.
So definitely remember that. The other thing that I wanted to mention that I think a lot of people don't think about is if you get good at setting a boundary, it could possibly inspire somebody else to set a boundary. And I know Wendy and I have both had people in our life and they're like, oh, wow, you inspired me the way you XYZ. So a lot of people have said to me, you inspire me the way you live your life, the way you want to live it. You don't care that it's weird or different or unconventional. And I don't care as much anymore, but especially when I was first a mother with a small child and I kept training for my Ironman and kept working and doing all these goals and spending a lot of self-care on myself, I was nervous about what other people thought. But then people would say to me, wow, I really admire that you still have your life and you're just bringing your child into that life and you guys are working through it together. You know, so that's something that if you're like, you know what, I'm not going to drink at this party. And you just tell them right away, you're like, no, I'm not drinking right now, or I'm not drinking this week, or whatever, however you want to say it. Somebody else might be like, oh my gosh, I didn't want to drink either. And I was feeling kind of pressure. So can I hang out with you and we can sip water? So you never know how your sticking with your boundary might inspire somebody else to stick with theirs. So anything else you wanted to say?
No, I think that was a lot.
Any helpful
covered
tip?
everything on our list.
I know that was a lot of things that I think are going to be really beneficial. And for me, I had a really, this year for the holidays, I've spent like 20,000 times more than I wanted to spend already. So I'm like, okay, during the actual time that I'm with my family, because I'm with my family usually 10 straight days. My sister, all her kids come. We're all at my mom's. We go to a ton of movies. We go out to dinner. We order food. We do all this stuff. I've already spent way more than I was wanting. So for next year, I need to set better boundaries for myself and stick with them on the budgeting part. But B, over the next few weeks, I'm going to give myself more stronger boundaries around what else I'm going to spend money on. So that's what I'm going to be working on.
Focus on what you control.
Yep, exactly. And you guys, you know that Wendy and I, we said this before, but just reiterate, plan ahead. Like you can go through your calendar now and be like, okay, this is what's going on each of these days. And here's how I'm going to respond at each of these events. Mm-hmm. So plan ahead. Did you have any listener questions, Wendy?
I did. And I'm going to make them quick because I got to bug out in a couple minutes.
Okay. Then I'll do mine next week because I
got to be done by 3.
Okay.
I asked an athlete that I coach in Colorado because it's winter. I heard it snowed. And so I asked him, what's his threshold of riding, mostly riding outside, like clothes-wise. I used to have a threshold of 35 degrees and sunny, and I could still bike because I had the gear and it was sunny. But if it was under 35, I tended to bike indoors. Again, it depended on the sunshine and it depended on the humidity.
Sunshine's a lot here.
Yeah. So we got to talking about winter gear, and then he asked me a follow-up question because we were communicating. He's new. He's training for a Boulder 70.3, and so he doesn't have much practice with nutrition. So his question was, as my sessions are getting longer, when's a good time to start dialing in nutrition during workouts? I always hydrate no matter how long a workout is, and I try to eat carbs and protein shakes after my workouts to refuel. It's the gels and carbs I'm not exactly sure when to take during a session. How long run bike sessions still need or still feel too short? So I can't remember what the end of that question was, but basically wanted to know, when does he need to start fueling? And my response is, how much and when you fuel during a workout depends on when your last meal was. So like if your last meal was at noon and you're doing your workout after 5 p.m., you're probably going to need to take some calories in during that training session, or at least eat a small snack of maybe about 200 calories before you start your session. If it's less than 90 minutes, you'll probably, if you eat that snack and then do your 90-minute session, you probably won't need any calories, maybe some liquid calories, but you can just do water. But if you eat at like 3 or 4 o'clock, if you eat like your lunch meal, then getting on your bike or going for a run at 5 o'clock, you probably don't need any fueling. My rule of thumb is I like to eat breakfast like right before a training session. So if I'm up at 5, but I'm not going to train till 7, I'm going to eat breakfast after 6:30 because I like to eat close to when I'm about to start a workout. And then I usually don't need to fuel during that workout unless it's over 90 minutes. And so there's a lot of factors involved in fueling. And also, like, how well did you fuel the day before? How well did you fuel to help you recover before the next session is going to determine what and how much and when you need to eat. But the general guidelines are, if the workout's above or 90 minutes or longer, you should start fueling. You don't start fueling at 90 minutes. You start fueling maybe at 30 to 40 minutes. And then you continue to fuel about every 30 to 40 minutes. About, again, trying to aim for that 60-ish grams of carbohydrate per hour is a good starting point. And then based on your hunger, pains, or your GI distress or not, you can adjust from there.
Yeah. And I would also add to that, when you're training for something like a marathon, a 70.3, an ultra, an Ironman, anything that's pretty long, is a handful of times before your race, during your longer workouts, experiment with what you think you're going to be racing with as far as nutrition, so you can make sure it works. So what I'll do is, especially if I'm trying something new, like if I'm doing a 70.3, my first 3-hour bike ride that I do, I'll use what I'm planning on using in the race to see how it feels and see if it gets me through the 3 hours. And I've learned a lot about needing more calories, more carbs in a race because I tried it out first in a longer training session.
Right. And I always suggest, if you want to keep things simple and rely on the fuel that's offered on the course, start there. Start using the product that's offered on the course. Don't excessively use it because then you're going to get sick of it, but see if that works, because then it makes it easy and you can rely on that race day.
Right. And that's why I say like a handful of workouts, I'll use what I'm racing with, because I don't want to get sick of it. Because if you're sick of it on race day, you're going to have a hard time choking it down no matter what it is.
Right.
So, well, awesome. What are you most excited for coming up?
My last youth swim meet of the year.
Oh,
it's a prelims finals meet. So I'm going to give them a little bit of a taper before this meet, because it's the last meet of 2025, and it is a prelims finals meet, and it's local. It's about a mile from my house, so I can walk there.
Ooh, that's nice. Is that big aquatic center?
Mountain View, yeah.
Yeah. I think I did masters there.
You did.
When I was visiting you. That was really fun. That's awesome. I do have no idea what I'm most excited about, but I'm actually most excited for today, because after this, I have nothing on my schedule. And before we got on, I made this long list. It's like 15 things that I want to do. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my timer for 15 minutes, and I'm going to work for 15 minutes on each thing. And there's 15 things. So that in the next 4 hours, I'm going to get a bunch of stuff done.
I love that. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I'm actually super excited about that.
Yay.
Oh, and I'm going to add to my list working on my boundaries, because this reminded me, it's funny that I really haven't thought about what boundaries I still am too loose with and ones that I'm really like good with.
Yeah.
I haven't even thought about it, even though we were doing a podcast on it.
Yeah.
But I've
Nice.
kind of been thinking during the podcast of some that I want to tighten up a little.
Nice. I love it.
Awesome. Well, enjoy your swims. We'll check in next week to see how we've been doing on swims. I think my total right now is 9,000. I think
Nice.
I'm at 9,000. I need to do about 25,000 a week. So I feel like I'm right on track so far.
Yeah.
Awesome. High five. Well, I would love to hear about your guys, how you're feeling about your boundaries coming into this holiday season. And if you're doing Diswimber with us, let us know your goals so we can hold that space for you. And thank you guys for being here.
I make it a great day.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Wellness Made Easy with Wendy and Kirsten. If you want to learn more about us or anything we talked about today, check out the links in our show notes. We would love to know what you think of our podcast and what you want more of. So drop us a comment, send us a message, and help us out by leaving us a rating and a review. And don't forget to let us know your wellness win for this week. Thanks for listening. Make it a great day.